Well, alrighty then. Holy cow. Let's see what's going on today. Welcome, Kyle and Tim and Dave and Daniel and Robert and Michael and Eduardo. The future. Yes, the future. Future is, yeah. The future is future. Hello, Brian D. Roberts. What's the D stand for? My middle initial is D also. I bet they're not the same. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, interesting show coming up today. I hope you'll enjoy it. It's my thoughts on the future. I tried to get some folks to sign in to join in with me, but I probably waited too long. Let's just double check, make sure nobody's replied. Yeah. Yep. But that's okay. It is a thing. Um, my middle initial D stands for Doig. 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 I would bet that's not Brian's middle name. I've only seen it a couple of times out in the whole wide world. I mean, that was my dad's middle name and my granddad's middle name. My granddad and I was named for him. And then my dad has the same middle name and same last name as me. But I did not name any of my children Doig. But it's a Scottish root, as is Sinclair, which sometimes over there is pronounced Sincla. And funny note, growing up, I always thought my name was Sinclair. Sinclair. And so when I would introduce myself as Tom Sinclair, I always became known as Thompson. Oh, it's Thompson Claire. No, 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 no. So I intentionally changed the pronunciation of my last name so that it would become more evident. So it became Tom Sinclair. Sing with kind of a G in there. Sinclair. Sinclair. And my dad in college was known as Sink. So there you go. Brian says, Ralph says hello. He's been doing a lot of online streaming here lately as well. Yeah. Holy cow. There's a lot to be said for online streaming. We might talk about that today. Yes, we might. Rich says, sound is great. Well, thank you, Rich. Coming from you, that is high praise. Rich, you may have to come on the show again soon. And let's talk about Dante Audio and vMix. I think that would be a great topic because it sounds like Dante can do the same thing for audio that NDI has done for video and allow you to route it around on your network with minor muss and fuss. So we will see if that is indeed the case. I want to monitor the chat in vMix. No, the chat in the Streaming Idiots Facebook group because you can't do that through vMix Social. Facebook doesn't allow you to get that. I guess it's some privacy concerns or, excuse me, the fact that you've joined a group. NDI for audio, that's right. What is this you talk about? Oh, yes, Dante Audio. It's cool stuff. Eric is here. Welcome, Eric. Glad to have you. Eric is watching on Facebook on the Eastern Shore Broadcasting page. Eric, I would invite you to come over to easternshorebroadcasting.com and get in on the rest of this chat over here if you'd like to. I love the Netherlands. I went there last year for the first time in my life for IBC and had a wonderful visit and got to meet Rudy, who's here. Rudy and I and a bunch of others went bowling one night. And you know what? Bowling in the Netherlands is just like bowling in the States. I mean, the ball spins the same way and everything. Yep, that was a great time. That was a great time. Let's see. How are we doing on time? We've got a few minutes left, so we're good. The Omaha Junior Lancers High School. Woo! All right. Greetings to you too. Greetings to you too. So Eric's going to come join us in the easternshorebroadcasting.com page. And I mean, you can watch both at one time, but to get this chat and to chat with everybody else, then you want to do that. Rich says, oh, and Prashana's here. Welcome. Good to see you. Missed you. Rich says, did Alabama open up? We are, kind of a soft opening. I think, I'm essential services. So I've been here all along. But I think this weekend that restaurants will be able to open up, or maybe that's Florida. Restaurants are opening up at 25% capacity. So, yeah, that's right. It's tomorrow the governor is supposed to announce what she's decided to do. So we hope that she'll open things up. I mean, all politicians are just scared. They're scared that they're going to make the wrong decision and somebody's going to die and they're going to get blamed and they're not going to get elected and they're going to fall off the gravy train. I get it. But sometimes, you can't stay in a hole forever. Kenny Hampton is there. Kenny. Man, I missed Kenny. Kenny missed the Streaming Idiots virtual meetup. Chris is here, so we can get started. There you go. Brian says he always does social distance, so that's not a big thing. And Ken is here. Ken is one of our featured topics today. Ken, that reminds me, I need to go get something within arm's length here. Yes. You know what it is. Yeah. All right. Let's see. What kind of time? Oh, we got 20 seconds. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Yes, I have something. Let's see, where can I put it where it will be within reach, but not in the camera sight yet. There we go. That'll work. Steve Brown is here. Hello, Steve Brown. And Rich says, wait until the lawyers get involved in this COVID-19 openings. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I agree with Shakespeare, though. Shoot all the lawyers. Popcorn. That's a great idea. Oh, popcorn. No, it's not popcorn. It could be popcorn. Brian says he knows what it is. Chris thinks he knows what it is. Brian is, Ken, is Brian close? Not really. Okay, let's get this show on the road. So sit tight. We'll be back with the show opening here. Let's see, how do we do that? Let's go to that shot. And then we'll do this. Out of the picture. Yeah, doggone it. I'm back here at my desk today. And so I'm going to lose my arms. At least one of them. Yeah, there we go. I'm losing the other one. So I'll try to stay in my box. Thank you for joining us today. It's Streaming Idiots. It's Wednesday. It must be Wednesday because it's Streaming Idiots Day. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the impact that this whole thing that's wrapping the whole world up in knots. Let's turn this down. Sorry about that. Just as soon as I forget to do that, somebody's going to call in and say, hey, Tom. No, what effect is this, not necessarily the virus, but the human response to the virus? How has that affected you? How has it affected live streaming? Not just for today and yesterday and tomorrow, but down the road. So we'll be talking about that for sure. We want want to talk. That's right. We want to talk about the future. But before we talk about the future, let's talk about the present. Um, we are in the middle of a 6-week series, a 6-week learning series on vMix, vMix 101. We just had our 5th class yesterday, so the 6th class will be next Tuesday, and that will be the end of that class. We'll be starting that class up again in a couple of 3 weeks. If you'd like in on it, let me know. Just drop me an email. Where's the lower third here? Lower third. There we go. And or just go to our contact form at easternshore.broadcasting.com, and you can get in on the next class that we have. Basically, it runs Tuesday afternoons, 3 o'clock Eastern, for about 90 minutes, really more like 2 hours. And we go through vMix from head to toe. We don't cover everything because, boy, it would take forever to cover everything. But it is a good survey class. So if you're just starting out with vMix, it's a great opportunity to get started on the right foot. And if you started on the wrong foot and you want to get back and learn about all the stuff you missed, it's a great class for that too. And probably the most valuable part of it is the questions that people get to answer. It'll be a presentation of a series of lessons. I think there are 12 lessons over 12 lessons. Well, anyway, there are a bunch of lessons, 12 or 16 over 6 weeks. And we'll stop and take questions in between lessons. And that's the real beauty of it, is the ability to talk with somebody about what's going on and your particular use case of how something's working or not working. So that's the vMix 101 class. I commend it to you. There'll be more information once we get some dates set, but I just wanted to make sure we kind of got on record about that. There is coming up periodically on Fridays, we're doing a series of workshops. It's sort of ad hoc. Some weeks we do them, some weeks we don't. 3 o'clock on Friday afternoons. That's Eastern Time, U.S. So I hope you will avail yourself of those. We did a great one last week where Terry Wilhite came in and talked about the challenges of being an on-air talent. Terry comes from a TV background, public relations, and communications background. It was really fun. We'll be posting that video. In fact, I'm hoping he's already posted, and I'll make sure that we link to it in the Streaming Idiots group on Facebook. If you're not a member of the Streaming Idiots group on Facebook, oh my gosh, where have you been under a rock? You need to join the Streaming Idiots Facebook group. And you say, okay, Tom, I'm trying to join, and I admit, yes, there are a ton of people that have signed up that we haven't joined in with them in the group yet, and we'll get to that. So if you've already joined and you are waiting to get your okay, my apologies, it takes a while to get to that sometimes. As you can imagine, we are being overwhelmed here at Eastern Shore Broadcasting by emails and telephones and telephone calls and text messages and Facebook messages to do with live streaming. All the people that waited until now to do live streaming are suddenly deciding they want to do live streaming. So if you call me or email me and I don't respond right away, if the phone goes to voicemail, please don't take it personally. We're doing our very best to get everybody in the order that they did call. Sometimes there are folks that have things that are a little bit more crisis oriented, so we're trying to help folks get through their crisis. And so occasionally we may bump somebody up to the top of the line. But for the most part, we're taking folks to when it comes in, and we're behind. So my apologies. So you might be able to catch me by phone, but don't count on it. Just go to the Eastern Shore Broadcasting page, to the Contact Us page, and I promise I will respond. A hat tip and a big thank you to Ken Richer of the Spangler Candy Company. You know, the Spangler Candy Company makes like more than 50% of the candy canes that are consumed in the U.S. every year. Isn't that amazing? That must be millions and millions and millions of candy canes. I mean, come Christmas time, when you go someplace to buy candy canes, chances are, look on the back of it, it's coming from the Spangler Candy Company. Well, the Spangler Candy Company is also the home of, yes, that's right, you're about to guess it. Here they come. Dum Dums. Woo! What? Dum Dums is the unofficial, although Ken, we could probably make it official now, the unofficial candy of Streaming Idiots. So if you buy a PC from us or something else that ships from our headquarters here in Fairhope, Alabama, you're going to get some dum-dums with it, because we've got a 4-pound bag, 64 ounces of pure, unadulterated fun. That's right, that's dum-dums, and you can get some with your order of anything that we're shipping here from our studios in Fairhope, Alabama. Ken, thank you so much for the dum-dums. This is actually the second time he sent me a bag of dum-dums. We went through the first one in no time. So thank you to Ken. I found out also that the Spangler Company also doesn't make but distributes Smarties. So there's a double whammy to have Smarties and dum-dums. They kind of balance each other out, don't you know? Yeah. All right, so enough fun. Enough fun. Let's do something serious. Let's do something serious. Let's talk about the future. Oh my gosh, what is the future going to hold? Hold on a second. Let's get to the right microphone. Let's start there. What is the future going to hold? The future is going to hold, well, who knows what? I think the future is going to be full, that we're seeing root change. Just like here in the U.S. after 9/11, suddenly you couldn't jump on an airplane without a complete background check and full body cavity search. We will see the same thing so far as health concerns go, where there may be some requirements to, if you're traveling on public transportation, like a subway in New York City, that you have to wear a mask. There may be that airlines may require all passengers on airplanes to wear a mask. I think those are two very common and probably logical, common sense type of things, and certainly would involve some amount of courtesy. I did have the opportunity to travel. Sandy and I went over to visit my son Jordan in Thailand 2 years ago, and there were a number of people on that international flight that wore masks. And I came to understand later that in a lot of cultures, it's very common for folks to wear a mask when they go in public or when they go in a closed space with a lot of other people that they don't know. So I expect that we'll see some sort of changes like that. I want to see how it's going to affect the restaurant industry. I love to go out to eat. But I also want to see how it's going to affect the live streaming industry. And what it's done is it's blown it up. It has purely blown it up. Every church that hasn't live streamed in the past suddenly decided in a short period of time, I would say overnight, but in church terms, that's 2 months, that they need to live stream, because they're just going to disappear if they don't. They have to stay in contact with their membership. They have to find ways to, like with Zoom, to continue to do the kinds of things that they do with Bible studies and groups that meet, that type of thing. I know our church, which probably is average age, 68. We're not a young church, and and there is a women's Bible study on Wednesday mornings where I think the average age is probably 80. And doggone if those 80-year-olds, sorry, my little tongue-tied here, that those 80-year-olds figured out Zoom. And so they have their Wednesday morning Bible study on Zoom. Believe it or not, it amazes me. And so folks have found a way. But the more formal things like church services, for example, do require a little bit more preparation than something for Zoom. So we're getting lots of calls from folks that want to do their church. Maybe they have some gear on hand. Maybe they used to do TV and now they let that go, and now they want to see if they can adapt it over to live streaming. Probably the worst case scenario that I get is somebody that has a bunch of gear that somebody recommended they buy, and now they have the gear, and the problem didn't solve itself. Having the gear show up did not make a difference in that sense. So I think folks need to be really, really careful if you're making purchases that you have some clue what you're doing. Or if you don't, if you're working with somebody that can help you. I had a gentleman call me yesterday, and I could tell from talking with him that they didn't know a whole lot about the technology, but they had already invested thousands of dollars in the gear. And now they needed somebody to not only help them put the technology together so it would work, but understand it all. I mean, they needed basically somebody to hold their hand through the whole process. And that's going to be hard to find, somebody that's willing to invest an inordinate amount of time. Um, you figure, when we build a PC and send it to somebody, we're including 3 hours of training with that. Most folks don't use that, frankly. Most folks don't use that, but we're prepared and frankly very willing to do that training to help them get started on the right foot. But somebody that's starting from scratch with gear that is, who knows what, and maybe it'll work together and maybe it won't. That might be a hill too steep, a bridge too far. So we will see. We will see. Right now, it's all we can do to answer the phone when it rings. It's already rung 3 times since we started this show. Thank goodness I had it on mute. Rich is saying you need a good reseller such as Eastern Shore Broadcasting. Yeah, in normal times, Rich, I would be delighted to spend the time with folks to help them get up to speed and understand what they're doing, so that they, the old give a man a fish, teach a man to fish kind of thing. I would be more than willing to help them learn to fish, but there just isn't time to do that right now. There are just too many other things that are calling. So the future in live streaming is those that know are going to be way out ahead of the game as compared to those that don't know. If you think about when you started live streaming, I mean, live streaming is a series of learning adventures. You find out what doesn't work, and then you figure out how to make it work the next time. And sometimes there's pain involved, which always tends to motivate me very, very well. But that could happen over a period of years. I mean, my first live streaming was in 2007. If I had to compress everything I've learned since 2007 to today, holy cow, I can't imagine. I mean, I would be just overwhelmed if I had to learn it all again in a short period of time. There would be just no way that I could get it all, excuse me. So I think for those of you that have already started it, you're at a distinct advantage. I worked up a little PowerPoint. Let me see if I can bring that PowerPoint up here. Let's see. We got that PowerPoint. Yeah, here it is. These are the different kinds of folks that I'm finding in the live streaming world now. And let's see. Let's turn off all of these guys there, because I'm not sure those will be programmed to turn off. Let's try this. All right, so we've got newbies. We've got all the newbies, the folks that are coming in that don't know what they're doing. They don't know, they know what live streaming is because they've been watching it, but being on the other side of it is a whole new, and all you have to do is click a button and you live stream, right? All you have to do is turn on a camera and plug it into your computer and plug your computer into the internet and press the go button on your computer, and pow, it happens. Yeah. And so for all these folks, they are running into brick walls. They're running into quicksand. They're running into fire. They are some of them are successful because they've got a group around them that have the skills and they can pool their skills together, but some aren't. Some aren't. And so I've got a lot of concern about this group. And so if you've got people that you're bumping into that fall into this group, I would encourage you to kind of give back to the industry and spend a little time helping those folks get it, maybe not all the way, but at least a little further along than where they were. So many times people are coming in, well, they're coming into something. All right, let me back up. The old diagram, you're basically cutting the, if you start with a piece of paper, line down the middle, another line down the middle, so you have 4 quadrants, and that represents all knowledge. And then in the top left-hand quadrant, you've got that I know what I know. So this is all I know, and I know that I know all that. And then over here, opposite that, in the top right quadrant, are things that I know that I don't know. So I know what I know, and I know what I don't know. That's half of that. In fact, that represents all the knowledge I have. I know the things I know, and I know the things that I don't know. And then there's this underlying part that there is also there are things that I know that I don't know I know. Things that I know that I don't know I know until I come into a situation where I say, oh, yeah, okay, that's what that means. I understand that. I was just using a different word for it, but now I know. I didn't know that I already knew that. And then there's the last category. This is the biggest category. The things that I don't know that I don't know. I didn't even know these things existed. 12-legged elephants. I didn't know that. Bad example, but anyway, you get my idea. And so for folks starting out, this category of the things that they don't know that they don't know is huge. And the idea that, of course, is that we move to this other quadrant of things that you know, but in the meantime, I think you go through this other one over here of things that you begin to learn that they're things you don't understand. That they exist, but you did not know about them. But now you know about them. You still don't know them, but you know about them. You know they're there. And so we want to help folks get from the I don't even know what I don't know to, oh, I know it's there, I just don't know it yet, to I know that I know it. And we want this area to grow and grow and grow. So if you can help somebody else in that process, your local church, local charity, please do what you can. Get into a online forum and help out in an online forum. If I'm a vMix guy, of course. If you're a vMix guy too, join in the vMix forum and look for those newbies and see if you can't help give them a leg up. Join into the Streaming Idiots group or some of the other great groups on the internet and see if you can't help some of the folks that are just starting out. People that are starting out, so many of us that started out were kind of shy. I didn't want to admit I didn't know what I was talking about. So I didn't always ask stupid questions, but it's only by asking the stupid questions that you get to understand enough of the basics to be able to move forward. Okay, we've we've beat that horse to death. Let's go on. Then we have another category, and these are the transferbees. Don't you love the way I've got this, this theme here going with the BIES? The transferbees. These are people that are coming from other industries, other ways of doing things, and they're using some of the knowledge that they had, and they're moving into live streaming. I spent a couple hours this morning on the phone with a producer, a television producer in New York. And they are putting together I can't tell you anything other than to say they're putting together a show. He made me sign a non-disclosure agreement, which I was happy to do. But they're putting on a show, and they're trying to do it. They're trying to achieve the same excellence that they achieved in the TV world, in the live streaming world, with a tenth of the budget, a tenth of the resources. And finding that, golly, it might just be possible. And I think the transferbees are going to, they may stay here. They may move into this live streaming territory, and they may stay here. They may still go back and do some other things from whence they came, but I think they're going to continue because they had an idea of what live streaming was, but it may not have been as accurate as what they're experiencing it is. Maybe they had a sort of a cartoon caricature idea of what live streaming was, and now that they're fleshing it out and they're seeing it really come to life, there's so much more depth and breadth and strength to it than they really realized. And that's going to be fun. So I'm really happy for the transferbees to move into live streaming. I think it's going to take some of some of the folks that have been live streaming, for example, somebody that's been live streaming events in the past, suddenly is going to have more competition because the transfer bees are going to come in and try to do that as well as they look to try to keep their doors open. How can they possibly survive? So they're going to be moving from from TV production into live streaming production. We've seen the transfer bees for a while in the radio industry as radio stations add cameras, and in addition to maybe live streaming the radio on an audio network, they're now live streaming the studio camera on Facebook or YouTube. I mean, why not? It's practically free. It's practically free, and they can get as advanced with it as they want. There's a local radio station here that we've worked with. It's in Mobile, and they're doing multiple cameras. They're doing vMix. They've got a vMix operator that's switching cameras. I don't think they're running commercials yet. I don't get why they're not running commercials on the video side. They're just playing the audio, but that's just the way they go. So we've got the transfer bees, the recent ones that have been forced out of their business by this virus thing, and then we've got the ones that have been forced to do maybe not forced out of this business, but taking on new business because maybe the radio business wasn't doing so well. So they thought, well, let's see if we can't spice it up a little bit. And then we've got the Force-A-Bees. Yes, the Force-A-Bees. The Force-A-Bees have been forced to do this against their will. They did not want to do it. And there have been a number of churches that I've talked with that are in this category that said, hey, we had no intention to live stream ever, but we don't have any choice. Number one, we got to keep our doors open. We've got to keep funds coming in. And so we've got to provide, some sense of community as we ride out this little storm that we're in. And so folks have been forced into live streaming in order to survive. I think you can see the Force-A-Bees in, if I watch a lot of cable news, watch MSNBC and CNN and Fox News, trying to stay kind of well-rounded there. Although maybe that's three extreme examples that don't mean it's well-rounded. But everybody almost on those news shows is operating from home. They've been forced to operate from home. And they're sending their video over the internet to a central control room somewhere, I would imagine. And frankly, some of the video is just horrid. If you're in the Streaming Idiots group, you've seen some of the posts that we've made in the last week or so about some of the things that have ended up on live major cable network news shows. It's absolutely atrocious. Bad lighting, bad camera work, bad audio, bad background. You think of a bad, and I've seen it on one of those three networks in the last 2 weeks. It is, it's actually kind of funny because I can say, oh, we could do better than that. I mean, come on, guys, just, but these are people that didn't pay attention. And to their credit or to their defense, a lot of times these are people that are definitely experts in their field, and engineers and technicians are handling all of these details in the normal world. And now all of a sudden, not only do they have to set up their own microphone and their own camera and their own lighting and do their own hair, the whole deal, they've got to do it all. And it really has sort of separated the pack. You can see the ones that had a clue of what was going on before and are doing it well, or maybe they've got somebody in the family or somebody over the phone that's coaching them out. So those are the Force-A-Bees. There's a third category that I call the Tempa-Bees. Yes, the Tempa-Bees, they are here in live streaming only so long as they have to be here. They can't wait to get back to the way things were before. And that's going to include churches. That's going to include TV commentators that are operating from home right now. They can't wait to get back in the studio. They can't wait to have somebody else do their makeup, and somebody else do their hair, and somebody else do their microphone and their lighting and their camera. And they don't have to look like an idiot anymore. Oh my gosh, it has been so much fun to watch this stuff. But the Tampa Bees will never, ever go back to live streaming unless they're forced to. They are just taking this because it is the only option left. And they don't understand it, or they don't like it, or they don't care, and they don't want to. And they'll be happy when things go back to normal. All right, and then the last category, and then I want to get some comments from you guys on this. We've got the GRQabees. And if you're watching live, I want you to just, we'll take a second, because the live stream is I think we're about 8 seconds ahead of you right now. So I want to give you a chance to sort of react to this and see if you can figure out I was going to write the whole thing up, but it wouldn't fit up here in a way. I wanted to keep it all on one line. And whoops, sorry, went out of the frame again. And so I want to see if you can get what the GRQabees is. Ah, there it is. Dave's got it. Dave is the man. That's right. It's the Get Rich Quickabees, the GRQabees. And they have, oh yeah, look at Clint's got it. Rich has got Goat's Real Quiz. Well, yeah, that's not even close. The Opportunities, that's right. These are folks that see this as a great way to number one, to make money. And it is going to be very unfortunate for people that do business with these people, because these people will be here for a while, and then they'll be gone. They'll make all sorts of promises, and then they won't be around to keep those promises. Yes, they were there. They were present before. I've had lots of clients in the past that have come to me after somebody else has taken their money to say, help me make all this stuff work together, because it doesn't work together the way the people that took my money said it would work together. And suddenly their unlimited technical support, they're not even answering their phone. Well, I can understand not answering your phone right now, but this was prior to this situation where people wouldn't answer. So be cautious and encourage those that don't have as much knowledge about live streaming, that are casting about to get more knowledge. Caution them to be on the lookout for folks that really don't have an in-depth knowledge of what they're doing and want to just sell them a quick solution and maybe get on to the next town. I was thinking that here in the South, after the Civil War, there was a group of people that came down this way. They were known as the carpetbaggers, and because they made their luggage out of carpet bags, because that was all there was available, and they were opportunists, and they were flim-flam artists, and so we want to be careful for folks that are that might be in that category. I think, or at least my personal experience, is that I am a very poor judge of human nature. I am a very poor judge of character in a short period of time. If you sit me down with a 10-minute interview with somebody, I'm going to see exactly what they want me to see. I'm not going to be able to pick up on the deeper elements. But yet, I think everybody thinks that they're probably pretty good judges of character. So if you're doing business with somebody and it's somebody you don't know, by all means, get references and check them. Get phone numbers, get emails of people, and it's like, when you're hiring a contractor, did he do a good job? Well, yeah. Did he clean up after himself? Yeah. Would you hire him again? Well, let me tell you. And then you get the questions. So encourage folks to do their due diligence if they're going to do business with somebody about live streaming. Right now, for example, people are coming to us, as you can imagine, for PTZ Optics cameras. PTZ Optics has done a marvelous job of positioning themselves in the live streaming world as the go-to robotics camera company. But they've done such a great job that they can't keep up with the demand. Every PTZ Optics I think every PTZ Optics camera in the United States and perhaps in North America is sold. They're just not there to be purchased. And I think the next container load of PTZ Optics cameras coming into the U.S. from wherever they're coming from, I guess China, I think that container load is probably sold. And the one behind it is, if it's not completely sold, it's probably partially sold. And so people are coming to me and say, Tom, I want some PTZ Optics cameras. And I say, yeah, that's great, but I can't take your money and send you a camera because there are no cameras to be sent. I can put it on back order, but back order will be 3-4 weeks maybe. I mean, I'm still waiting on cameras that we ordered 3 or 4 weeks ago to arrive. And, you know, everybody's made their best, I think their best honest effort to give me accurate times, but, you know, I don't know if Customs is slow walking Chinese shipments through into the United States. I understand that UPS has had to change the way they package things in order to ship to the United States. So things are coming maybe in smaller packages. Don't understand. Maybe containers, you know, maybe they're not shipping containers. Maybe everything's coming in cartons, being flown in. I don't know. But I do know that anybody that says that they can send you a PTZ Optics camera tomorrow, number one, I want to know who they are because I'm going to go buy them all. But number two, I don't think they're telling you the truth. So, and what we're telling folks is, if you want a camera, we're happy to kind of get you on the back order list. You're going to have to pay for it, but we'll get you on the back order list. But at any time in that process that you feel like you want your money back for whatever reason, you can have your money back, and we'll cancel your order. We'll probably keep the order with PTZ Optics so that we can get the cameras when they come in, because I think there'll be a shortage of them even then. So if you're thinking about getting cameras, number one, you know, you may have to go outside that particular brand to find something immediately. And there are other brands, I'm sure, that are good. And there's some value brands that are lower priced. You want to use your due diligence on those and make sure they're going to meet your need and that they're going to have warranty. I mean, a lot of folks, at least a while back, used to be ordering their cameras directly from China in onesies and twosies, which is great when everything works and you don't need technical support. But if something breaks or you can't figure out how to do things, then you're kind of up the creek without that backing of a company like Eastern Shore Broadcasting for one, and like PTZ Optics for two. So I didn't intend this to be a giant commercial, but just be careful for the GRQOBs, because they're going to be out there to kind of get us all if we're not careful. So moving aside from that, the future for live streaming, I think, is going to mean that a factor of 10 or more people are going to be live. For every one person that was live streaming before, I think there are 10 live streaming now, maybe more. So that means for every 1,000 people that were live streaming before, there are 10,000 people live streaming now. So for every million people that were live streaming before, there are 10 million. Wrong mic. Yeah, thank you. I forgot. Shortcuts. For every million live streaming before, there are 10 million live streaming now. So it means, it certainly means that certain gear is going to be in short supply. You know, we're having trouble getting power supplies for PCs that we're building. Doesn't mean we can't get them. We're paying more for them, and we're going to alternate sources than our normal sources for that. And I suspect we may find that the same is true. I know the same was true for the, what was it? I think it was the Elgato Camlink. All of those were gone for a while. Anyway, I just noticed I'm floating in air, and that gives me that uncomfortable feeling. So let me take a second and fix that. No fun to be floating in air when you don't intend to be floating in air. Let's see if we can't just drop that down. There we go. Sorry about that. I was spending too much time on the PowerPoint before the show. and not enough time getting the show ready. So the future for live streaming, I think there are a lot of folks that are discovering how powerful it is. They kind of knew, but now they really know. And so, be they businesses or churches or production companies, they will continue even after the crisis has passed and they're not forced to do it. They will continue to have that as part of their offering because they've discovered that it's really powerful and it's really valuable and it is really doable for lots and lots of different reasons. There will be people that will abandon live streaming as soon as they can. I get that, and go and try to go back to things as normal as possible when they can. And I understand that sentiment. I sure do. And then there will be people that embrace live streaming and really never ever go back to the way they did it before. They will say, this is new and uncharted territory. I see opportunities here. I like this. This is exciting. It lights my fire again. And I think we'll see a whole new breed of live streamers that have come in, probably a lot of our transferabies, the ones that are coming in from other industries that were similar, like radio or television, maybe even film. And they will stay and they will say, this is a good place. Now, that's going to affect a lot of folks, I think, that are doing live streaming as their major gig now. Suddenly they're going to have more competition. And I would encourage you, if this be you, to differentiate yourself from these newbies, these transferbies, by your experience, by your track record, by happy clients, and not get into a price war. And lower the value of live streaming for everybody. As Rick V says, don't poison the well and bring the base price down so low that nobody can survive. Do high quality work, be paid a more than fair wage for it, work hard for your clients, and I think things will settle out nicely, and you will probably develop a even better reputation. The fact that so many more people now are not only live streaming but are watching live streaming. I mean, everybody in our church is watching the live stream if they want to go to church. So all of a sudden, all those folks are being introduced to live streaming that perhaps weren't doing it before. Here's a good example of that, which is not exactly live streaming, but pretty similar. My 80-year-old, not mine, but my church's 80-year-old Bible study, women's Bible study group. I'm sure they can't wait to get back together, to be back in the same room together, to talk with each other and have, all those side conversations and go out to lunch afterwards and all the kinds of things that they used to do, and made that a valuable experience for them. But there also will be some of them that probably for health reasons won't be able to join the group, or may join the group for a while and then may have to drop out. But now they have this knowledge. They know what they know. They have this knowledge that allows them to continue to connect with the group via Zoom in this case. And I'm hoping that they'll continue to offer that Zoom offering. I really think that is going to be a permanent part of that little group going forward into the future, especially as all of them get older and can't drive or can't find somebody to drive them, or, have got a cold or whatever and have to stay home. They won't miss out. And so now our church was, I won't say we were forced, but we looked around for alternatives of how to continue these programs and found one that was workable. And the long-term benefit is it actually increases the community that will happen long-term instead of decreasing it. That folks that wouldn't come because they couldn't or shouldn't to this little Bible study in the future will come virtually over Zoom because they can. And I think we're going to find that true for so many different industries. I can think about, for example, okay, what's going to happen with sports. Let's talk about sports for just a second, and then we'll close up, and I want to hear from you. Sports are just shut down. High school sports are shut down. College sports are shut down. Professional leagues level sports are shut down. Heck, you get arrested if you go to the ballpark to throw the ball with your kid, at least some places. That's pretty crappy, I think. But when things open back up, they're probably going to open back up again in stages, in steps. So we may not be able to go to Doak Campbell Stadium, Bobby Bowden Field in Tallahassee, Florida, and watch Florida State play football in front of 90,000 fans. There may be a limit in the number of tickets that are sold. There may be a limit in how you can be seated, and so people that want to attend, that can attend, and it may be something that is not TV worthy. Although Florida State will be TV worthy, don't worry about that. Live streaming is going to be a great opportunity. Scale it back to a high school level, and let's say here in Fairhope, Alabama, the Fairhope High School Pirates. We're the Pirates. The Fairhope High School Pirates may have a restriction on how many people can physically attend the games. That's going to make live streaming much more valuable. And there may be some folks that say, hey, look, if we can't get people in the seats to pay for the seats, we can do live streaming on a pay-per-view. And that is going to be the play, I think, for a lot of folks doing, not typically televised events, but maybe live streamed for free events in the past, that may move to a pay-per-view, at least for a period of time. So that's what I think about that. So I'm going to close up the show part. We're going to go into the post show, and I want to read your comments and hear from you. So if you've got some thoughts about this long term, would love it if you would drop me a line. EasternShoreBroadcasting.com has a contact page there. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. If you think I can help you with a project that you're working on, or at least hook you up with somebody that can help you with a project you're working on, I'm happy to do that and help facilitate that. And if you have some thoughts and you're saying, Tom, I really, really strongly disagree with you on a subject, perhaps we can put it together a show in the near future where you can come on and talk with me about it. We can have a good old debate, a good old hoedown. So let's move to post show, and we'll be right back after we close out this official part of the Streaming Idiots. Thanks so much for joining us. We're live every Wednesday at 3:00 Eastern. We're sponsored by Eastern Shore Broadcasting, where we build and sell PCs using vMix and with X keys and PTZ optics cameras, at least when we can get them. Uon capture cards. We have a lot of friends, and we think a lot of all of them. So be back in just 1 second. Okay. All right. So let's see what I missed. What did I miss? What did I miss? My audio is shot on YouTube. Huh. Well, we'll have to see about that. I do know that, let's bring this back up here. There it is. There we go. That the audio, I forgot to adjust my triggers because I've got a trigger that when I go to this shot turns on this mic, but when I go to that big wide shot, it turns on the mic over there. And I forgot to adjust that trigger. So there you go. Ken says that Facebook is supposed to be offering a pay-per-view option. I'd seen that. I think that's going to be interesting. I think there'll be, it will be an easy grab. It'll be interesting to see if the rate that they charge for that is at all favorable. I think anything less than an 80-20 split, that is 80 for you, 20 for them, if you get less than 80%, you can do better elsewhere. Let's see. Wixton says audio is fine on YouTube. Thank you very much. Let's see. Dabod Medic Nate. Oh, Dadbod Medic Nate says, I've got a friend in Alabama requesting a consult to improve his game streaming and maybe flying down. I'd love to come by and say hello and shake. Well, we can't touch yet. But yeah, I'd love to have you. Shoot me a note and let me know when you're coming. I'll take you to lunch if there are places to go to lunch. Marie says, all of the big touring DJs are also streaming from their studios. There we go. Herman says that church will never be the same. Well, I believe that may be true. I believe that may be true. And that's not a bad thing. Brian says Facebook added some type of monetization to live streams. He thinks they're called stars. Yep. Okay. Let's see. Dave says your music is way louder than your mic. Yeah, that's a problem. Wixton says the gold mine now is the startups doing pay-per-view for concerts and stuff. Yep. Dave said Fairhope is already forced into NFHS, which is pay-per-view. Yeah, Dave, they were, but they paid off NHS. They paid off the Alabama Athletic Association, Alabama High School Athletic Association, so that they could stream without doing the pay-per-view. They just paid them what their cut would have been. But they may go back to pay-per-view, especially if they can keep it all themselves. I think there's an opportunity there, Dave, for you guys to have a pay-per-view offering with a paywall, because I think a lot of high schools are going to opt for that, especially if they can only have 25% of the people in the stands. Tennis says tennis 2020. Is that Dewey? I hope so. Opportunities are everywhere. You just need to flush them out. Wixton says, I know a guy who has a son who is good with computers. Yeah, they end up calling me. DJ Steve Matthews says it's already happening with my current major sport client. I've been increasing year on year to match inflation, but now they are like, and then the rest of it's cut off. I apologize. I don't see that. Marie says, I do feel bad for our Finnish neighbors. They have to stand so close now with the 2 meter distance. They're used to much more. That's good. Yes, DJ Steve says, but this will happen. Newbies will do it for exposure, and just to give them some cash. Clients will start to say, why pay $1,000? Yeah, but that's already been going on. That's always been the case. I've got, my son's got a video camera and he can put it in his laptop and pick up some Wi-Fi from somewhere. Yes, the trick is to make it more valuable. I really do. And people will get a sour taste from that for whatever reason, especially if it bombs out or looks bad. And if it looks bad, it's going to make them look bad, especially if it's a business that is trying to put their best foot forward. Dadbod Medic Nate says, I've got a paramedic friend who is out of work due to COVID. I advised her through her decision to stream her video. Well, there you go. Otis says he just had a conversation with his pastor. He wants his AV media ministry more competition, try more duties and responsibilities. Yeah, I believe that. Brian says, what is the base price? What is the base price? That's a good question. We ought to have a show about that. Marie says transporting of goods has also slowed, if not stopped completely. I'm sorry to hear that. That's the one thing that I can say is happening pretty well here in the States, is that food and other necessities are not in short supply. I mean, they might be in some isolated areas, but as a general rule, they're not. My shortcuts are killing me. Dave, you're absolutely right. Okay. And let's see. Mike. Live streaming funerals. Absolutely. Boy, a lot of folks have seen an uptick in that, and a lot of funeral homes have put their own systems in. All right, let's go back to the first page here. Michael says, Tom, I really agree with you on your church small groups, 80-year-old plus mastering Zoom. Yep. Michael is in a community in South or Central Florida, a retirement community. And, you know, I think the trick really is the community aspect of it, you know, liked aged people helping their peers, you know, get on with this. Because it really is doable. It's not impossible. Dave says, then Facebook pay-per-view will shut down your stream because of ancillary music. Well, Dave, that's when that NVIDIA voice will come in, if it'll take the music out of the background. Sandy wants to know, Tom, when do we ever get to graduate to streaming geniuses? Well, Sandy, I think it's a matter of setting expectations. And I wanted to set expectations really low so that I could be sure to always make it at least to the idiot level. And I think that's the key. Somebody said it before, is, you know, under promise and over deliver. And I think we want to kind of have just a little bit more humility than maybe we might normally have, you know, force a little extra humility on ourselves, because sooner or later we're going to be in a position where something won't happen the way it's supposed to, and we will deliver exactly what we said we'd deliver instead of what we were hoping to be able to deliver. Let's see. Yeah, Herman is got a church down in again, South and Central Florida area, and not doing services, live services, where people are physically attending, but they are able to survive, in fact, even thrive. And it's opened up, you know, since you have to focus on it now, it can open up some real good opportunities there. Jan says, also corporate world will change as a result of the human malware. Yeah, I think, and I think it's sort of condensed all that, you know, kind of concentrated it now, where people are maybe more cognizant than they were before, or maybe there's more of it. Let's see. So glad to have, again, I believe that's Dewey. So glad to have you back out of the hospital and back into the land of the living, as they say. I had a heart attack about, it's been 10 years and 10 years and 2 months. And it was pretty scary at first. And then the docs got me back in good shape, put a couple stents in. A couple years later, put a couple more stents in, monitoring me, and you know, we're good for another day. Marie says, maybe a show could be about how to sell your stream and the arguments why you should cost twice that of the son of a friend. I think that's a great idea. We will do that show. Marie says, yeah, food is coming here, but it was a comment on streaming equipment and computer parts. Yes, things that are not considered essential. And my concern is that, of course, a lot of electronic components are coming out of China. And if things are being moved more slowly out of China, that we may find shortages in that. Yep, that won't be good. Nate says my pastor at Life Church had to watch his aunt's funeral via live stream. Yeah, there have been some real very tragic stories on that regard. Hey, Joe DeMax is here. Hello, Joe. Jan says, I know streamers who lost a lot of business, but now corporate jobs starting to pick up. And for folks that can change gears like that, I think that's going to be a big benefit. Yep. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's the same basic skill set. It's just a whole new market. And so you have to learn the language for that new market. But the nuts and bolts of the live stream haven't changed that much. Guy says that NVIDIA voice is only good for voice and not general event noise. Well, in the show we did last week, Dave was playing some music in the background, and it didn't come through on the live stream when he had voice activated. So we'll have to test it. And again, of course, the NVIDIA voice, from what we can gather, is not a official release version. It's still alpha or beta. Jan's got an example of some things that can be live stream: board meetings, debate panels, management communications, general assembly meetings, etc. Yeah, I mean, we're working with a court system to help the judges live stream all of their court proceedings so that they are in public as required by their law. It's been interesting, and it's been interesting to work with people that wouldn't necessarily embrace technology, and helping them get over the humps on that. Dewey says, appreciate the well wishes. Yes, indeed. Yeah, Dewey, it was really interesting when I went through the heart rehab, which I hope you'll do. It was really important to me. There would be people in there that would be, overweight or older, and so you could understand why they might have had, some heart issues. And I'm not obese, but I probably could drop 5 pounds, 10 pounds, and not miss it. But one of the guys in the class with me was just in magnificent shape. He was probably in his 50s, and he was just well toned. We were doing all sorts of different workouts, and sometimes you would get a little perspiration in the workout. And so sometimes those brave ones of us would take off our shirts. And when he did, I mean, he was just cut. And I could just see the gears going in his head. I'm in such great shape. How could I possibly have a heart attack? And the educational part of the rehab, they talked about that very issue, and how, for me, and probably for that guy too, it was very much genetic, that we essentially were little ticking time bombs because of our genes. For me, it's cholesterol. And once we kind of got that under control, it made a lot of difference. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, my wife decided that we were going to go gluten-free, not because we had to, but she thought it was a good idea for both of our healths. And I lost, probably 10 pounds almost immediately. And my triglycerides, that is the fats in your blood, dropped by 40 or 50%. My bad cholesterol went down. My good cholesterol went up, just from going gluten-free. And not that we were 100% gluten-free, but, we cut out a lot of the carbohydrates, a lot of the sugars that we got with breads and rolls and all that kind of great stuff. Anyway, it made a whole lot of difference. And the doctor was like, what did you do? And I told him. He said, keep doing it. In fact, he was able to cut down on some of the other meds that I was taking because we were doing so well in that category. So if you ever want to talk about it, I'm happy to. And my knowledge is 10 years old. They probably know better now. In fact, back then it was, do a low-fat diet, low fat. And when we went gluten-free, it had a much higher effect than the low-fat was doing. Let's see. Steve Matthews says that he is delighted Joe DeMax is here. Right. And Tim is here. All right. Very good. Glad for it all. Let's see what we've got here. Can we get into the back door of this little thing? 1 second. Bear with me just 1 second. Let's go here. Let's go here. Can we get into there? Let's try there. No. Can't get into that. Hold on 1 sec. No, can't get into that either. I'm coming back, I promise. No, 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 no. Well, thought I could see stuff, but I can't. Okay, let's see. What did I miss? Not the dum-dums. That's right. Jan says, sometimes it only takes a small adjustment to make huge impact. But usually that small change was done by the wives. Yeah, that's right. That's right. She could say, it will be so. It was fun. Jens says, then I guess, Tom, you've got a good 50 years more to live. Well, maybe. Good to see you. Glad to have you. Jens, I'm probably not allowed to ask you if you are one of the super secret vMix 24 beta testers, so I haven't asked you that question. I had the opportunity to meet Jens in person last fall at IBC and hang out with him at the vMix booth for several days. It was a real treat. If y'all have an opportunity to meet that young man, please take advantage of that. He's a quality kid. He's one of the good ones. Yeah, he's one of the good ones. Got to meet his dad too, and he was a good one too. Yep. So the future is now, and the future is coming up, and the future is going to be different than we might have thought 6 months ago. In the live streaming world, it might be better. It might be worse. It might be more competition, but it might be more opportunities. And I think for those of you that have a foothold, keep going. Keep going. He says, wink, wink. There you go. For those of you that are seeing this as a new opportunity to get into, I commend you and encourage you, and suggest that you try to find your own niche. You know, if everybody's going to do virtual conferences, don't go do virtual conferences. Try to find, if everybody's doing funerals at funeral homes, don't just take that as a commodity item that you can capture. Try to find something that you are very interested in naturally, and find out if there's a live streaming aspect to that you can somehow engage in. And I think it'll be much more rewarding. And I think you might be able to blaze some new territory. And when you blaze new territory, you can generally name your price. So you're not competing. It's like, when Coke or Pepsi is on sale, it's a commodity. It's on sale. You buy it. But when it's something that's unique, like IBC root beer. IBC root beer is expensive, but it's the only. It's a special kind of root beer. It's not like the others. So be IBC root beer. Yep, that's if you don't take anything else away, be IBC root beer. Dave says that the company he works for, WSN, has got expanding opportunities. I'm sure, more than you can shake a stick at. I'm sure. Which is really interesting because WSN and other similar companies were sort of getting some rough water from the whole high school sports thing kind of being pulled and funneled to one company. Anderson here is here from Barbados. He's having real trouble remembering the time has changed back. He's always missing the show. Oh, well, I'm sorry. I'm glad you're here now. Glad you're here now. All right, folks. Well, I need to close up and go back to work. We've got some PCs to build and some folks to talk to and some people to train and all that kind of stuff. But I do, again, it really does honor me to have you hang out with me. I really appreciate it. And I know, it's not just me. You enjoy the other folks that you get to chat with, and I get that. But it's fun. All right. Ron says, Tom, trying to get my vMix call audio to match my webcam. If you're talking about syncing it, yeah, we can talk about that. Shoot me an email. We'll try to figure out a time when we can get together, because I'm full up for today for sure. So I will, Ron, I can't call you right now. I've got one call that I was supposed to be on 7 minutes ago, and then another call right after that. So shoot me an email. We'll try to find a time when we can get together. Yeah, I apologize for that. But I will see you guys next week when we have another exciting edition of Streaming Idiots that will be equally as stimulating, hopefully more. And in the meantime, keep the faith, and I will catch you later. Let's see, where's my catch you later symbol? There we go. Here it is. So we'll just go with this one. All right. Bye-bye.